Boom, boom, boom. We are live, everybody. Welcome to Red TV in Conversation. I am Peter Clark, and hey, thanks for being here. I super appreciate you being here. If you are coming here for the first time, thank you for showing up. I super appreciate that. But more importantly, people who've come back, or not more importantly, just as importantly, people who have come back, you know what you're in for. So I appreciate you coming back. That's fantastic. Hey, listen. Always super excited to have amazing guests and amazing conversations on the show. Before we start, I just want to tell everyone, listen, over the last day or two, man, you guys have been sending me all kinds of love and support and great comments and great shares and all that kind of stuff. So thank you. I just want to thank you for that. I never really ask people to do this, but I'm going to try to get into the habit of listening. If you like what we do here at Red TV, please like and share it with your network. We're trying to amplify the good in the world. We're trying to take great people and amplify their stories. People are making positive impact in the world. People we can learn from, these kinds of things. So that's what the message is here. So if you like what you see, please support what we're doing, like and share with your network and get involved somehow, some way. So thank you for that. Listen, super pumped about this guy. I'm going to tell you why. I found out something about him I did not know in my little research. You guys know I research a little bit. I found out something that we share like so in common. I don't know if he knows this yet, but we'll get to that later on in the show. This guy is a catalyst for change. That's what he is. That's all he is. He is a speaker, author, problem solver, founder of Humans First. That's what we're going to talk about as well. Humans First. How can you not like something called Humans First? Cultural and tech transformation specialist. That's what he is. Hey, listen, I'm just telling you what he does. I could be here all day. He's a CEO advisor for leadership strategies and so on. Here's what he believes. It's more than what we accomplish. It's who we become along the journey. So couldn't agree with him more. And hey, let me tell you something. This guy even has a registered patent to his name. Very smart guy. This guy's a very smart guy. I mean, we bring the best on. That's what we're doing. Hey, everybody, please welcome Mike McConty. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Peter. I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, good to have you, man. Good to have. Listen, this is the first time we've met. I mean, this is the first time we've met. I don't know if most people know that, but when I reach out to sometimes to people, we connect online, but we never really talk or anything. But this is the first time we connect. So hey, listen, it's super good to see you. I appreciate you coming on the show and these guys' things. So I first want to ask you, always family, yourself, health wise, you and your family. Is everyone okay? Everyone all right?
Yeah, we're doing well. So my mother's been through some health stuff over the last period of time here, but I have 5 children, Peter. They're adult kids now.
Right.
And I had my baby girl got married this summer. Everybody's healthy and happy and productive, and there it is. Look at
there you go. I was going to ask you, who are these beautiful people? So go ahead, continue on. This is from your wedding, from a wedding this summer.
Yeah, and everybody's doing well, which I'm grateful for. Right? It's amazing, and so family's really good. Everybody's healthy. I've struggled through this pandemic and some things, right? Because we want to keep bubbling things up. And I think both of us have that energy to be with people, right?
Yes. Oh, this has been hard for anyone who is, again, a very social, if you're empathetic, compassionate, like being with people, all that kind of stuff. Man, this has been painful. Before I get this picture off, and I'm sorry for that, go across the line for me here. Who is everybody? And I just we'll give them a quick shout out. Who am I looking at across here?
So on the left side of the picture, the young man standing next to me is Michael Vacanti Jr., my son.
All right.
He is a personal trainer, nutrition guru, and he's got a book coming out from HarperCollins very soon.
Cool. Cool.
He's a personal trainer to 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵 and the others.
That's right.
Yeah, and
right.
my lovely most patient person on the planet. Wife is next to me. Thank goodness she keeps the tether, and I'm the ball bouncing around.
Totally get it. Totally get it. Yeah, totally relate.
Matt is my brand new son-in-law, which is a new addition to the family. He's in the blue suit. My daughter Jenna,
killer suit, by the way, and no socks from what I can see there. So that looks very classy, very cool, man. I love it.
And then Jenna is the baby. Next to her is Emma, recruits for Lifetime Fitness and is in people development and does all kinds of stuff. Jen is a kindergarten teacher. Brianna is a nurse out in La Jolla, California. And then Mia is the middle of the five, and she is just, she's me in the form of a girl, which is really scary, but she's so nurturing and loving. She stepped out of her communications career, and she actually nannies for a family now and is totally happy and peaceful doing it. So
right on. Hey, look, everyone's looking happy and joyous there. And hey, listen, good looking family, brother. That is fantastic. And look at that guy in the middle. He's got the biggest smile because he joined a really cool family. That's what I'm seeing right there. So that's cool. Hey, man, that's good to see. Like I said, when you got your health and your family's good and everything, things kind of rock and roll. Everything's good. Let's look. We got so many comments here already. I just love this. I just got to get some shout outs. Tim, good to see you here. Really appreciate that. Hey, from Pennsylvania, of course, right? Just want to throw it out there, Mike. All kinds of things. Again, LinkedIn users, sometimes this happens, everybody, just so that you know. For some reason, the software doesn't read your name here. So if you are making comments like that, put your name in brackets. I appreciate that. And Tim, hey, listen. Hey, love that. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate that. Let's see who else is here. I'm just going down through. Look at this person. I know this person.
Hey,
look at that. Hey, I think that's a member of the Humans First. Am I correct? An ambassador right there out of Houston, Texas.
Yeah, man, Andrea just does such fabulous work, and
she's like a rock star. I mean, she
really is.
Yeah, she has these great shows that she does every month. Hope everyone will go out to her LinkedIn profile and find out more about that. She brings together some great stories with lots of people. So thank you, Andrea, for being here. We still appreciate that. Here we go. Look, yes, Mike, prefer hugs at first. Yeah, Humans First gatherings. Everyone wants to do that. That is for sure. We appreciate that. Hey, and again, I love the fact that Tim is here and he's shouting out people and all that kind of stuff. And there's my good buddy, Peter here in Canada, worked with Air Canada for like 25 years. This guy's a rock star too. So, hey, always love having you here. Appreciate that. And he's even shouting out we got someone from San Diego. Brooke is here from San Diego.
Hello, awesome. Brooke 値, great author, purpose-driven business. Brooke is from Turkey, came to the United States. Just a brilliant soul yeah.
Fantastic. See, I mean, there's people tuning into Mike. Now, Mike, I want to make sure I've heard the name, either you, how do you pronounce your last name that you like?
𝘂𝗏𝗁𝗃𝗏.
Yeah, 𝘂𝗏𝗃𝗏. So I got it right. I just wanted to make sure. I normally ask before we went to the air, but we just met here. And so, hey, let's put up some contact information on the bottom there. You can see how to get a hold of Mike. He has two different websites, mjvacanti.com. Got to ask, what's the J? What's the J for?
Michael John.
Hey, you gotta love it. And humansfirst.club, everybody. We're going to dig into that as well in a little bit right here. So just to keep it in context, Mike, because we're going to move pretty fast, as you can probably tell, and because we have so much to cover. And I love your story. I love your background, and we have something in common that's going to blow your mind. I hope it blows your mind. It's so much fun. I can't stand to wait to get to it. So I'm so excited. But to keep it in context, why don't I'm asking people right now? You'll please go out to your LinkedIn page and make sure people can connect with you. It's along the bottom there as well, 𝘂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. So please go out and check it out. You can read all about him. Go to the website. You'll read a lot more. But for context purposes, tell people what is it that you do. You are in the leadership world. You spend a ton of time in leadership, in your own words, basically. What do you do in the world of leadership?
Yeah, thank you, Peter. So I had a professional career, right? I worked in organizations with big teams and big responsibilities, many millions of P&L responsibility, large teams, western half of North America, and a lot of teams abroad in India and Europe. And through that process, I became an integration guy. So I got hired when companies rolled together. And they said, come in and let's fit this thing together, right? And so I was the guy that was the new boss that got dropped in when everybody is in chaos. They're, fear and doubt is present. Everybody's pretty angry. And so you hate the boss. It's like, I don't like what's going on, and I don't like the boss, which is you. And that was always kind of the starting point. So I learned along that experience, those experiences. I did it 5 times, how to really listen to people and engage. And so what I do now is come back with those experiences and kind of share. There's a way to build relationships and engage people and listen to them just by caring enough to do so. So I never stepped into a situation that I knew a lot or I was right. We just all kind of took a look at what we wanted to achieve, and everybody developed their own sense around that. And then we started making the plans. And instead of having to push things along, we were just putting, gas in the tank and got the engine rolling. And in all 5 of those situations, my teams did incredibly well. Despite me, because of me, all I know is I was a part of it and along for the ride. And that's when I say that, given the opportunity, Peter, people will amaze us.
Yeah. The reason why, well, thank you for sharing exactly. Again, I think catalyst for change is certainly amplified in everything you just talked about. You basically are that force that people can bring into their organization and work with you and your team. Again, the subject matter is so big. I mean, leadership is so big. I live in Canada, and last night, literally as we record this right now, last night we had a federal election. So again, this whole idea of leadership and picking leaders and these kinds of things are at the obviously top of mind right now, specifically here in Canada, but globally around the world. It's such a big conversation over the last 5 to 10 years about leadership, not just in business, but in the world in general. Now, because you are such a catalyst for change and helping people with leadership, and we're going to talk about your book, obviously, which is fantastic, all about leadership and so on. Got to ask the basic question coming from someone like you right now. What is leadership? It's a word that's used so often now. What is leadership to you? What does it mean?
Well, for me, and I want to keep it simple to answer the question, right? Leadership is that ability to positively influence others, to help them discover more in themselves and create their ideals for progress, process, change. It has to have meaning and purpose in each person's life, or you're really not leading, right? You're just commanding. It's almost easier to say what leadership is not. Leadership is not authority.
Right. There's no doubt about it that there, you think about, there's many concepts out there about leading without a title and having a title. It's funny. I often mention this, and I always mean it in the kindest way. And I think they take it like that when I speak to anybody who does have those kind of really big titles and so on, and we're privately chatting about it. It's interesting when they have the business card with CMO or CFO or CEO, and a big brand, let's say a name behind them, it sort of matters. And then I love the question of, if I took that card away from you, right, who are you? What are you? And do people still see you as a leader? So I really appreciate you talking about what you think leadership is and keeping it simple, because I think there's a complexity to it that we can dig into for days. We're going to dig into that into your book in a few minutes and so on, because you deal with so many different leaders and different verticals of business, as you said, around the world and so on. I'm wondering, in your experience that you've had with working on all these people, what are some of the traits? What are some of the traits of great leaders that you have worked with or for maybe in the past?
Yeah, I love that. And I want to touch on something, if I can, as a start to that answer, Peter, is because I put it into context that I've learned more about leadership by those that blunder the opportunity than by those that do it really well. But through time, I have experienced some incredible leaders, and the traits that they share, they truly care about the people. And so we can become subject matter experts, right? We can become very proficient in many different things. You're proficient in music. You're proficient as a communicator and as an artist that brings so many other talents forward, right? And you can collaborate with that and bring that together. That's true leadership. Those that just take that subject matter expertise and then enforce it down a narrow path are lacking the ability to lead because nobody's really following them. That's why, if you're sitting there with a whip and just driving people down the path, you're not really leading, you're commanding, you're forcing. And I think we miss that. We miss that simple thing is when people can willfully choose to commit, you've won, you're leading.
Yeah. So, again, I'm going to push you just a little tiny bit because I know there's some people tuning in. They're going to want to, and I'm a list guy. So give me 2 or 3 things of characteristic wise of those traits that you talked about. Authoritative. So right away, again, obviously authoritative is not. So would be what is the opposite of that? I wonder that you find attractive. Is it compassionate? Is it empathetic? Is it visionary? I'm just curious of some of those kinds of words that might be top of mind for you.
Empathy definitely needs to be in there because understanding where the other person stands along that path is how you know how to get them further down the path. So you have to have the empathy to know where they are and go get them there, right? So that's a big piece of it. I believe that leaders must be able to listen. And it's probably the skill, the trait, the behavior that is most missing in our leadership scenarios now, is being able to meet people where they are. That's the empathy piece, and then be able to listen. Because when we draw on a common understanding, Peter, then again, people will choose their level of engagement. They'll choose their level of performance. And with those, with those 2 basic skills, compassion, empathy, and then the listening and understanding, we're able to help people make those choices where they're going to learn, they're going to continue to grow, and they're going to perform at a greater level because they don't have the fear of failing. And so I think that the great leaders are more focused on the other person than they are in themselves, which is really the antithesis and why we have such a leadership crisis is we promote all the narcissists. That's the pattern, right? It's just like, oh, look at that, bold person. And I'm not going to say man or woman because there's narcissists in both, right? And
absolutely.
But it's the one that stepped over everybody to climb up the ladder, and they're hardened and they're resolute, and they have all those traits that we used to think were the great leadership traits, and they're not. It's like they sacrificed everybody else for themselves instead of sacrificing themselves for everybody else.
Oh man, you nailed it on the head. The suit, you already know this. I know you know this already. But as soon as you mention that word, and I know this, hey, let me just share something with you. You talk about empathy and leadership, the ability to listen, all that kind of stuff. I know this is a friend of yours, so I just got to give a quick shout out right there. If anyone represents that kind of leadership, for me personally, is this beautiful person right here, 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵 from, she's the chief heart officer. So there you guys are. I've seen several pictures of you with her, and I've had the great privilege of having her on the show as well. And just what you just talked about right there, listening, empathy, compassion, and thinking about the other person. Right there, that person right there. So obviously you guys have forged a friendship there. Maybe a couple one-liners about your relationship with her and how you feel about her when it comes to leadership.
Well, I love 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵 and I admire 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵. She is very real and thoughtful and as present in every conversation that we would all hope to be. So I want to emulate, that ability to be so present as Claude is. And I've seen her do it with her employees. She knows them. She knows what their growth path is, and she knows it's not all the same for each of them, that they're unique, and she recognizes that. I got introduced to Claude, and so when I was in New York on one of my trips, I said, hey, can I just stop by your office? And it was the first time I won't say shaking hands because we hugged right away, but we sat down in her office and just started riffing on, what are you up to? What am I up to? And Peter, it just went bam, because we were talking about the same stuff, and there was this amazing connection that hasn't wavered. And so I love Claude.
I know. I think a lot of people do. I'm going to throw up a couple of comments here, and absolutely. And Andrew, yeah, great thoughts, Mike. Listening, difference between a leader focused on title first, and one that focuses on the humans first. So that's nice little tag in there, Andrew. Got the humans first in there again, which is fantastic. And again, what we're talking about here: compassion, empathy, listening. All required skills for transformational leadership. And of course, that's where we need to be going. There's no doubt about that. So empathy, listening. Yes, absolutely. So again, I knew that would resonate with you. I mean, she's just a rock star. I just really like her a lot. And I know you guys, that's why I wanted to put that up there and have that conversation with you. Hey, let's talk about humans first. It's coming up a little bit here. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about humans first. I had Teresa Quinlan on, of course. So we had the pleasure of learning a little bit more about humans first that way. But I'm going to bring up the website so people can have a peek and have a look at what this movement, if you will, is, what this concept is, and so on. But, coming from the founder, from the person who basically dreamed up this idea, maybe can you talk us through what this is? What's the intention of this idea, and what kind of impact you want it to have? And I'll bring up the information and we'll walk through that.
Thank you. And today it is, we're coming up on the 3rd anniversary of Humans First. And the first date was in New York City, high above New York City at the World Trade Center. And it was Claude and I and a couple of others. And we each spoke, we infused topics, but it was really just asking the question, what's it like to be human in the workplace today? And we wanted to open dialogue, Peter, because it seemed to be missing, right? All the research says that we're not on a path that is, it's neither sustainable or desirable. And there's all these mental health issues, and there's stress and pressure, and books out there dying for a paycheck that say that 120,000 unnecessary deaths happen every year because of toxic workplaces, because of bad bosses. And I had experienced some of that. So I had a high achieving team program, and I was out, going around the country to different companies and taking them through these teaming events. You're going to be high performers, and here's how we do it. And what I realized is these teams are not even high functioning, much less high performing, yet they all thought like they were right on track. And there was a missing element. And so Humans First, I'm getting to the answer. I wanted to explore, what is it really? Like, what is possible? What is missing? And I didn't know, and I didn't want to pretend to know. So I wanted to be available to go out and do this research and just invite everybody in, saying, what's really going on? So we had, 15 different events, and we were going city to city. And as we got another city going, somebody would raise their hand and say, I want to do that in my city. And my rule was just say yes and figure it out. So they say, hey, Mike, I saw this thing going on. I was wondering about Indianapolis. And it's like, yes, Jason, we'll do it in Indianapolis. How does it work? And it's like, we'll pick a venue, and that will set the date. And then just magic will happen after that. And the magic was, I'd get off the plane and, go to Costco and get the snacks, and go get the plates and go set up and bring the film crew in. But we've captured, Peter, hours and hours and hours of not only brilliant people sharing and infusing their ideas, but then spending more than half of the time in open dialogue where people just shared their story, what's going on, and converse with each other. And really in that point, just kind of get out of the way and facilitate. And there were tears, there were deep shares there. We learned so much, not only about each other, but truly about what is really going on, which points to what are the opportunities.
Right.
So when I look at what is Humans First now, we're still creating it, and we're creating it together. And what I love to think about Humans First most, Peter, is it's just the great invitation. Let's get together and figure out how to do life better together.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And again, you know, you talk about storytelling and stories and so on. And one of the cool things about it, I just had the book up, but there is a book that talks about Humans First and the stories that came from all of these gatherings and all, you know, every time you got together on a call and these kinds of things. I hope you don't mind, but I really wanted to show people a conversation, a little piece of the conversation I had with Teresa, just to get her involved, because she's the co-author with you and vice versa with this book. And she explains exactly how the book came about. I'll come back and make sure it's accurate. So Teresa, we're checking the fact. We're doing fact finding right now live. So we're gonna find out the real story right now. But let's have a quick little peek at this video, Mike, and then we'll come back and we'll chat a little bit about. But I really wanted to throw a light on You Belong Here, Humans First Stories, and this is about the connection that you're talking about.
Can I cue that up just a
Please
little bit?
Do. Also? Please.
So, instead of making it long, Peter, I'm simply going to say those accolades that I shared about Claude Silver and how meaningful she is in my life. Yes. Ditto Teresa Quinlan, who is the best emotional intelligence teacher out there.
Wow. Okay. Hey, listen, and you know what? I had the privilege of having her on the show, and we had an amazing conversation. And I think you might be right on that. I think you might be right with that assessment. So I'm going to play this clip from that show, and she's going to talk about a little bit about the book. So I just wanted to make sure we got Teresa involved with the book. Let's have a listen right now. Hey, let's talk about your book. I said at the beginning of the show that you don't just read books, you actually write them, which is really cool. So I know you have a book on Amazon. It's called You Belong Here, Humans First Stories. I know you're the co-author, but tell us a little bit about this book. It's available on Amazon. I'm going to put the information on the bottom right there, a little bit about it. Tell us a little bit about that book. And I got a little surprise for you when you're finished telling me about it. Go ahead, tell me.
Amazing. So Mike 𝘶𝗶𝘁𝗵 is the founder of Humans First, and I joined on invitation 2 years ago now. And being part of this community, you attend calls and you get to know other members of the community. And every call, we really just dive into conversations about compassion, about accountability, empathy, racial diversity, any topic. Nothing is off limits. And so throughout a year and a half being on these calls, every single time someone would come back and talk about the impact of being part of the Humans First community was having on their life. Like I was having the experience as well. And when other people started to share it over and over and over again, on one particular call, we hung up from the call and I immediately called Mike because I had this flash of an idea of the book. So I called him and I said, Mike, I have an idea for a book, a Humans First book, and I just need you to say yes. And he's like, yes. Like, great. So let me give you the details. This is what I'm thinking, is that it's about people sharing what has Humans First meant to them. What's the impact been on their life by being part of this community? And it's the contributors book. So I would like to invite certain people within the community who have shared bits of their story that I think would be amazing as a contributor compilation of stories from Humans First. I'm like, I will manage it. I will own it. It's your brand. So I need confirmation that you're okay with me doing this. Right. And I want you to write, something at the beginning, something at the end. I'll contribute my own story. I'll thread stories together. I'll project manage, keep it on time. And he's like, yeah, go for it. So I went for it. I pitched him the idea at the end of August of last year. It was ready for sale December.
Hey, how cool is that? So that said, that sound all accurate? Just doing a little fact finding live as we go right now. But so first of all, tend to agree with you. Super cool person right there. Super cool person.
Yeah, just such great energy. Absolutely accurate story. And she did pull it together, and her ability to do that is something I really admire, right? Thank goodness she did it, because I don't really have those skills. So, it shows like it's so important to have people in our lives that support us and fill in the gaps that we have, because mine are vast. And so yeah. I need a lot of people plugging those holes.
Oh yeah, and again, she's brought together. So again, that book is available, and I wanted to. Hey, and here's what's just so you know, here's was the surprise when she was talking about it. She was talking about the book, and I said, "Hey, Teresa," so I'll just play it for you right now. I said, I got a little surprise for you, a little promo for the book. Here we go.
You belong here. Humans First Stories, available now in paperback on Amazon.
Just practicing my little practice of the voiceover right there. That's what
it's really good. That radio quality voice, which is awesome.
I appreciate that. Hey, so again, a shout out to the book. Wanted to make sure that we talked a little bit about that. Humans first. I mean, that's a big part of again, your brand, your identity. You've put together a great group of people. And I'm going to add that again. I wanted to show here, and there's Claude there front and center, and there's some amazing people that you have in your community right there that were speakers and are who join in on a regular basis. And right down here, which I like this part of it here, because we're hearing from one right now. There's Andrea right there. There's some of the ambassadors from around the world. There's Teresa as well, and I recognize a couple other names there, as Maxine is there as well, and Tony from over across the pond. And so just as we move forward from humansfirst.club here, can people still participate in this? To become ambassadors, what would you recommend for anyone who's interested in learning more about this?
Yes, I mean, one easy way is jump on a call, and they happen 2 times a week. So on Thursdays at noon Eastern time, it's in collaboration with Dennis Potoko and Melissa Hughes and 360 Nation, which is an online publishing forum, award-winning online publishing forum, and we, that's a Humans First call. That's a partnership, which is new. Thursday at noon, and then every Monday noon London time, so 6 a.m. for me here in the central United States. There's a call led by Tony McClellan, and it's primarily the EMEA group. So it's the European group comes together, and different people host those shows, Peter. So we go into different topics. We take turns facilitating. It really is an open invitation just to come in and explore. And then there's ways to get involved beyond that, is build relationships with some of the people, and the ambassador program really is open for everyone right now, and realizing that I have to bring some maturity to the program, as it grows, right? This is a 3-year-old toddler that has just been kind of wandering around the house, and now it's time to dress the kid up and get it ready to go to school. So there has to be some maturation of it. So we're now building some more programs and more outreach opportunities, and doing our best to listen and make it meaningful and and make contributions to others, and then let others make contributions to the program. So there's several things in the works right now, which will include an app and a daily affirmation piece and access to different programs. And we really want to, build this around highlighting the great works that other people are doing. That there is not one path forward. There's many, many colorful, beautiful streams forward. That, old gray one-way road is not the path. It needs to be the energy and the ideas and the brilliance of all of the people putting energy in.
Yeah, fantastic. No, I love the fact that, like I said, you just talked about Tony right here down on the bottom here, McClellan, she hosts one of the shows you talked about having the European connection there. Duncan Bureau there, I just put up his comment there. He's dialing in from the Middle East. He's over in Abu Dhabi. So there's the connection about humans around the world. We all have different experiences and so on. I'm just curious from those calls that Tony might be hosting and so on. Do you find there's a difference between how people are feeling, say, in Central Europe about things, and then maybe some conversations you're having in North America, or are you finding this human first experience very, very global, very similar?
You know, that's what surprised me probably the most, Peter, is I would expect that the circumstances we're in and our close environments would have the greatest impact. And in reality, they don't. Like, we've put so much focus on those things, but when you get people together, and on these calls, we've had people from 6 continents, right? 15 countries all at one point. When we did the 2-year birthday celebration of Humans First, we did welcomes in 24 languages. It was like amazing. And the commonality is so much greater than the differences. We're just programmed to look at the differences. And when we all get together, it's men and women, they're 20-year-olds and 70-year-olds and, every race and every religion. And we're talking about the same things. We're sharing the experiences of ourselves with others. And the similarities are amazing. The learning then about how we show up in our different environments and cultures is fascinating. Thank goodness that I have whatever education I had up to this point, because it's only created a small foundation to try to grow from with the teachings and the brilliance that all these people have brought into my life. And I'm the luckiest guy on the planet, I think. I don't really know how it happened. I just believe that something could happen.
Yeah, well, listen, maybe I'll answer it from someone looking outside. I mean, when you talk about humans first, let's face it. We're and the last 2 years specifically, maybe the last 5 to 10 years, specifically as well, that I think as much as technology has brought us together, people are feeling a little disconnected, and we're feeling less and less heard, which sounds almost completely ironic when you think about it. Every single one of us has one of these things in our hands. They're always like an inch away from us. We can connect under any circumstance, but we feel very disconnected. So these kinds of conversations. So the fact that you're amplifying the idea of humans first, leadership that talks about being able to be empathetic, compassionate, and understanding, and listening to people, walking in their shoes. I think that's what resonates with people. So I don't think it's luck, my friend. I think you've done a fantastic job when it comes to, again, emphasizing what is probably important as we move forward in leadership, in the world of leadership. Now, you just talked about a beautiful friend of yours, and she's also my beautiful friend. Just so you know, you don't have all of the you don't have the monopoly on good friendships, just so you know. Look who I'm bringing up. Look who's in the house. Look who's in the house right there. Speak of Tony McClellan, there she is, all the way across the pond. I think she's in. Are you in Wales, Tony? How are you? Oh, unmute yourself. Sorry, unmute yourself. Can you unmute yourself? I don't have you muted here, just so you know at your end. Oh, that's okay. I can still see you. Hey, listen, this is not a bad view. Still a good view. So just go in and see if you can check your settings there, if you can, for your yeah, she's going to come back in. She's going to come back in. But there she is, tuning in from across the pond, and I think that's fantastic. I'm really
my accountability partner.
Is that what she does?
Oh yes. She's like, okay, Mr. McConty. And it's like, I know. And I just the love that she shares, and Tony talks about sprinkling her, fairy dust around the world, and
totally.
How her brilliance in giving, right? Like one of the most giving people I've just ever had a chance to meet.
Oh, that's fantastic. Tony, I see you. Can I hear you?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. We got that beautiful accent kicking right through the whole internet. Love it. Good to see you.
Silent Tony isn't a good Tony. She can't be muted. I know. Mike, I just wanted to come and say, this is your life. And it's just a pleasure to come and join you and just say hi as a nice surprise for you. I think you're doing some fantastic work with the Humans First, and it was a mission that no one else dared do, but you did. You took it on and you said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to defeat all and I'm going to go for it. So I just want to say thank you so much, Peter, for highlighting this fantastic person and what he has done. And he is a true leader, leading others. So thank you, Peter, as well, for inviting me to come along.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I had the great pleasure, Mike, to have Tony on the show before, and we had an amazing conversation. She sprinkled more fairy dust. I'm still brushing it off. It's all over the house. It's everywhere. The fairy dust. Tony, I wanted to ask you this question. He talked about hosting the rooms, and you host a room for Central Europe and European community. I think everybody can tune in, obviously. I want to just ask you specifically about Humans First, this idea of, what attracted you to that concept of Humans First, and how do you bring that philosophy to your business and the world of, consulting and business mentorship and the things that you do?
Well, thank you for asking, Peter. It's a great group that we come together every Monday on the EMEA call. And I think that one of the things that I would say is that I do lots of work within public service, central government, etc. And it's really heavy policy, etc. And then you've got the other side, which is the Humans First side, which is the softer, people-orientated, the human piece. And for me, in my mind, it's like, how do I bring the two pieces together?
Yeah. And how do you do that? I mean,
it's like an elastic band. Sometimes it goes this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it goes back this way. But really, it's just making sure that the heavier stuff actually can't work unless you bring the human-centered piece into it. And that is what's one of the things that is so, so good with Humans First, is that it's all about human connection. There are some people that are in that community that we've become friends now. Yeah. It's not about I'm Peter and I do this for a living. It's about who they actually are. What is their name? What are your beliefs? What are your values? And that's one of the things that Mike really wanted to bring to the fore. So we don't even talk about business. We don't really talk about business. We talk about human capital, social capital, and the real human connection.
Oh, that's fantastic. Mike, what does it mean to hear these kinds of words from someone like, she's just a rock star. I know what you mean by keeping you accountable, by the way. I get these WhatsApp little texts every now and saying, hey, what are you doing? So she keeps me accountable too. Some comments about Tony and her impact on Humans First.
Not only amazing up to this point, Tony's ability to bring people together and just foster that open space. And I want to highlight that, Peter, because what I've learned over time is one thing to be able to create space. It's a completely unique strength to be able to hold it open. Once space is opened, created, it's amazing how people want to fill it right away. And Tony has that ability to hold that space open and let others live within it, contribute to it. It's a brilliant skill. Masterful leadership that's another piece to that. But she truly does care about each person. And that's the difference. And it's not touchy, feely, superficial. It really is deep care. Like, I'm going to nurture and bring you along if you're willing to do some work.
I think that's the key right there. Willing to do the work, right? The accountability piece.
Yeah.
I hear you on that. I hear you on that. And Tony, I just want to tell you, like, I love the stuff that you're putting out there. People can follow you on Clubhouse, by the way. You're on Clubhouse all the time. You're sharing, you're doing exactly that. You're kind of holding space for people, if you will, and you're allowing people to connect in different ways and so on. Let's leave people with something about how they can learn more about Tony and really about this human first connection that you have. Just tell us why it matters to you, and maybe why people can learn more about that by connecting with you.
Well, I think, Peter, that it matters to me, and I've kind of summarized this in the book that Mike and 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵 put out. You belong here. The title says itself. And my particular chapter, we've got 32, 33 co-authors in there that have got some real valuable contributions about their experiences of Humans First. And my chapter speaks really about a story that I was having a conversation with my son and developing his business. And I said, this business is not going to make you rich. And he said, but Mum, my heart is rich. And it brought me back full circle around what richness of heart means and how developing relationships with people is very rich. Not rich in financial wealth, but rich in every other sense of the word. And so that's what my contribution talks about. And I think that one of the messages that I would leave here today is about the fact that quite often in business, we chase the money all the time. But actually, if you chase the real human connection with some passion, some humans first, and put in a sprinkle of fairy dust.
Gotta have the fairy dust.
You're going to get what you need. You're going to get what you need. And I say, chase the smiles, and the KPIs take care of themselves. Wow. So that's kind of where it is. And if you set out to do good with good intention and put it out to the universe, the right things should come back to you. So I just want to encourage people to connect with Mike 𝘃𝗏𝗃𝗏. What he's created here is just phenomenal. And I think he's shown so many people, not only on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn community, but he's shown so many people in Humans First that real human connection, it really took people through the most difficult of times. And there's so many people that need to thank you for that, Mike. So I don't know what would have happened to some people if they didn't have the opportunity to tune in or join this community on a weekly basis. And even now, I'm still joining people on a weekly basis because they are friends. It's not even about the topics we discuss. It's about that connection, Peter. And I just want to say thank you to this man that's created that opportunity for so many that have gone on to collaborate and create business from it. But fantastic opportunity, and he set the ground. He done a lot of the groundwork for that.
Yeah, fantastic. So appreciate you sharing that insight. And look at this, another fan of yours, Tony McCullen, has a beautiful and caring way to make sure everyone has a voice. Thanks for being you amazing lady. So there you go. Listen, that's why I applauded you earlier. This is why I loved having you on the show. This is why I love following you on social media, because you do use your platform as a force for good and amplifying other people and allowing them and hold that space, as Mike just talked about, holding space for people, giving them an opportunity to amplify their story. So listen, I super love having you here. Now listen, you can stay in the green room and hang out with us and come back later if you want. I just wanted to make sure that you popped on here and said hello to Mike, because I know you play such an important role in Humans First, and we just thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much, Tony. She already muted herself. Here, but you stick around. If you decide to stick around, I'm going to watch for you. It's as simple as that. How cool is that, Mike?
Amazing.
Yes.
And when you say, how does it make you feel? Like, I start getting teary a little bit, because when you look at these amazing people that are part of our lives, and Tony right now is so important, because she is partnering with me and envisioning what that maturity looks like. She's, we partnered together out of caring and personal desire, and it's all giving, right? There's no business to be had here. So to be able to collaborate with somebody like Tony and envision the future, and I'm, like I said before, I'm a really lucky guy.
You are so, hey, but hey, you could, hey, the harder you work, the luckier you get. How strange is that? The harder you work, the luckier you get. Hey, we need to move on to you have another amazing book, by the way. That's just book number one, everybody. Just to get reset here for a second. Thank you. First of all, to everybody for the comments that are coming in. There's so many beautiful comments, Mike. I just want to say it on air as we're talking right now that later on, please go back and go through those comments. A lot of them are directed towards you and Humans First. And I know that you'd want to catch up with some of these people and some of these beautiful comments. So I'm thinking that this is amazing. Here's another good person to connect with, Lisa Patrick, thinking and acting with empathy and impact. Good to see you, Lisa. We really appreciate you being here. Another amazing person that you want to connect with. They're talking about marketing, branding and strategy and all this kind of stuff. That person right there, Mike, just so you know. Hey, listen, we need to talk about another thing you're doing, which is fantastic. Believership, the superpower beyond leadership. Now, this is a book that came out basically in 2019. And so what's fascinating about this book is that it came out just before the pandemic, the global pandemic. And so it's fascinating how the fact that this idea of this superpower is probably more timely than ever. I mean, it's more timely than ever because it was released while things were sort of just whatever normal was at that time. But certainly we've gone in a different direction right now about that. So let's let me throw that up there right now. I'm going to bring up the website so people can have a look, Mike. But the book Believership, the superpower beyond leadership. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind that and what you hope people will pull from this book.
Yeah, thank you. I the experiences that I had through my life of what is a leader and what do they look like and working for many, many people, like even through that corporate career I was talking about, Peter, I talk about my 2.5 good bosses, right? And over this period of time, I had 12 CEOs, COOs that I reported to, right? And these are big, billion-dollar companies. And I said 2.5 were good. So I didn't really experience great leadership, and it was amazing that they were so accomplished in their careers because they were not great at leading people through the business. They were good at doing the business, but not leading people through the business. And what the missing piece was, nobody really believed in them. Like they had to respect them, they had to listen to them, they had to follow directions, they had to obey authority if they wanted to achieve and be awarded and play the game and do all those things. But nobody really believed in them. And what happens is when you get into a fast change environment like we're in now, when you get into an environment of chaos, when you get into digital transformation, which $1 trillion is spent every year and 84% is the failure rate, because we think that we can just apply these patterns and these things we know and we can just command people. And the truth is, if they don't believe in what it is and where they're going, they're not going to get it done. And so believership truly does become the superpower beyond leadership. When people understand and willfully commit, they will do so much more than we could ever command them to do.
Right. I listen, I'm telling you that this is what makes it so interesting to talk about it now, is that I just believe that the timing of it now is actually, it's almost we need a re-release, Mike, is what we need a re-release. And maybe you could put a front cover on, or not a front cover, but a little prelude to it, with the last 18 months, because you're absolutely right. I mean, this idea of how we've seen leadership unfold in its actions, is in the intention of leadership over the last 18 months globally is stark when you look around the world. And I'm not going political here. I just use it as an example. When you look at the leadership in New Zealand of how that was addressed versus other parts of the world, just there's one small example. How some leaders stepped up in the business to keep people on during the pandemic, and how others were very quick to let people go. All of that is back to what you talked about, is that this idea of commanding and driving people It's a new time now, and it's a new normal, as you will, or the next normal, as a good friend of mine, Coach Khan, says, the next normal.
Yeah.
So I love that concept as well. So believership, the timing of this is absolutely fantastic. Hey, I want to throw up a couple quick conversations here that are being mentioned here. Believership, great book, since everything changes or doesn't change based on their beliefs. What do you believe as a leader? That's so absolutely true. It's just so important right now that we have these conversations about leadership and what it stands for and so on. I want to make sure everyone knows where they can go get this book. I mean, that's so important. You can go out to Amazon to do that. Super important to support authors and such as Mike, who's doing great work and putting it out there. Hey, Mike, listen, let's throw a little promo at it as well.
Believership, the superpower beyond leadership. Available on Amazon.
Hey, there you go. Little tag. I gotta get some of that practice in.
Wow.
Got to get some of that practice in. But I love the fact that we're talking about this right now, because again, the superpower. What do you think? Have you seen, to the prelude I just said? What have you seen over the last 18 months that gives you hope that people are moving in the direction of believership versus just straightforward authoritative leadership?
Yeah, I think that there's actually some great examples out there with companies that are understanding they can move forward very profitably, very effectively, efficiently, without having to adhere to the old models, right? So a lot of companies are understanding that they can get a lot done without getting everybody into the same ship, right? It's just like, okay, everybody board the ship at the same time, take your seat. Here's your oar. This is the way we learn to do it. We're all gonna, and what they're realizing is, oh my gosh, if we just build a canoe for everybody and put them in their own canoes, they're gonna make their way down the waterway, right? They're going to succeed, and we're all gonna go the right direction. And so it's those people that have been able to break the patterns and not force people back into the buildings because that's what we knew. Here in Minneapolis, Target Corporation is one of those companies, and they're very good at being thoughtful and understanding of their workforce. And they have over 1 million square feet rented here in the Minneapolis area, and they've reduced that by 1/3. They're not bringing these people back. They've been able to adapt to what's possible tomorrow, and I think being able to have that vision is one thing. Be able to make policy changes that adhere to that new vision, the new next or the next normal.
The next norm, yeah.
Is, those are the leaders that I think are demonstrating better thinking. They're humble enough, they're vulnerable enough to say something can be different. We'll figure it out. They didn't have to walk in the room saying, "I already figured it out. Here's the plan," right? And for all of life, and I go back to even the early philosophers, right? And you read through, and there's this common theme, Peter, that's always through there is we have to get people to buy in. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, right. It's like you're selling them on the idea versus painting a vision. A vision, right?
Don't get them to buy in. Help them understand, right? They'll come along on their own, and that's that leap of faith that's missing in leadership.
Yeah, I listen. I couldn't agree with you more. Again, I really I'm excited to have this conversation with you because again, I still think that we've seen leadership. Basically under the magnifying glass over the last 18 months and 2 years. And again, maybe in the last 5 years, specifically on a global stage, how things have played out around the world. And yeah, I think we need to get people, more leaders, to start following this idea of, like you said, where we need to encourage people to, we have that open conversation, empathy, compassion, walking in their shoes, especially moving forward. I don't know your thoughts on that, Mike, but moving forward, because mental health awareness is going to play a really big role in how people return to work, how we do remote work, all these kinds of things. How do you think that might play out for a leader when it comes to believership versus, again, leadership as an authoritative figure?
I love that, and framed that way. Here's what comes to mind for me, Peter, is think first about those that are going to be entering your environment, entering your company, entering your team. Think most about those children that are about to go to college. What is it going to look like for them in 5 years? Think about the person that's going to be recruited into your group next year. What environment are we pulling people into? And then I encourage, like, a lot of people, Peter, will push back on this, say, well, that's lack of understanding. You don't really know how it works. It's like, well, perhaps. I mean, I actually do get business. I kind of do know how things work. So I encourage people that are listening now, think of it this way. Wherever you take your information, I have thoughts on that, right? Like, turn off the TV a little bit. But wherever you take your information, when you hear stories about leadership, when you see stories about what's happening in the world, just keep a scorecard, just saying, well, there was a positive example. That's a success. Right. That's a failure. That's a good example. That's a bad example. And keep your own ledger, because what we're going to find is failure, 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 failure. And we barely even can find a mark in the positive column.
Yeah.
We're not exploring the wins.
Yeah, you got to look for them. You're absolutely right about that. You got to go look for them. They're there, but they're hard to find. You got to go look for them.
We're counting losses. It's like, who gets up and goes into any environment and saying, well, what are you going to do today, Mike? I'm going to go count all my losses. It's like, I'm going to focus on them. I'm going to spend most of my time like chalking up losses and getting all anxious about it. Stop that. Like, stop staring at the problem. It's time to envision what the opportunities really look like. And if you want to embrace what that might look like for ourselves, imagine it from that person about to come into the environment.
Yeah.
What do we want them to see, experience? How do we want them to live? What are the beliefs that we want them not to hear, right? We use all the great words. We overuse them now. It's almost like we've weaponized, beautiful language, right? It's like, I don't want to know that you understand those words. I want to see you behave with those ideals.
Yeah.
And so once the behaviors match the language, then we start to chalk up a lot of those wins.
Bingo. For me, I've said it so many times on here, I could probably go find 50 copies of it, which is, I just watch what people do. You watch what people do, they'll tell you who they are. That's a Maya Angelou. Just watch what people do, not what they say. So for me, I watch what people post, what they like, what they say, and then what they don't say. And I add all that up, and then I'm just being transparent. That's how I try to keep my scorecard in my own ledger and try to figure out, if that resonates with me or not. So I just watch what people do. So like you said, we got to be able to go out and find these examples, and because they're there and so on. That's for sure. Hey, Mike, listen, we're going to keep moving along here. Listen, there's so much going on. So I hope you go back to the comments. There's lots of great comments in there for you, talking about you being a guest and humans first and all the people that are connecting and so on. But hey, listen, when I was doing my research, I said, listen, why do I like this guy? I swear to God, I was like, what is it about this guy? And you don't figure out stuff until you start digging into their story. And I dug into your story a little bit, and I was thinking, so I found something, and I said, I cannot believe this. I can't believe what I found. So you're going to just love this. I hope you are, because it resonates with me. I was like, this is so cool. I did not know this, and I did not know this about you. I just want to tell you. So before we do anything, hey, listen, we're gonna jump to something called, created a little something for you today. Well, Little glory days, Mike Vicante. Glory days. Yeah, no, I play the song for you, but of course it's copywritten and we'd have to pay Mr. Springsteen a lot of money. I could play it for you another time. We'll do that another time. But I was like, okay, we got to get some glory days up here. I did not know this. You're a goalie. You're a goaltender.
Yeah.
Guess what this guy is? This guy's a goalie.
Is that really?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, and people, we talk about ice hockey goalie now. If anyone around the world's watching this, we're talking ice hockey goalie right now. And listen, we're a different breed.
Different breed. We're the only two that will admit it, I think.
I'm just telling you, we're just different because when you're willing to get hit with a puck, and sometimes most of the time for free to get hit with a puck for free, there's something definitely different about what's going on here. So I did a little research here. Hey, look familiar? Does that look familiar?
Look at that. Wow.
Look at that. Well, you know what that is, but look, that's the old jersey with the real logo on the top corner there, right?
Yes,
1979, everybody. Guess who? Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Where was this taken? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was at one of the elementary schools in town, and so I was asked by a fan, actually a past player from 𝘠𝗶𝘁𝗵, and he played at Michigan. Bill Lord asked me to come and stand in the net and be a goalie at the Wooddale Elementary School Carnival days. And so I stood there for like 8 hours, and kids just shot pucks at me, and I met all the little kids at the school. And so
I love it. Well, let me tell you something. I so resonate, but I resonate because I'm looking at the gloves and the pads. I know what year that is. I really do. I know what year that is. Let me take you back to St. Patty's Day, March 17th, 1979. Right? Bring it back some glory days. Look at that guy over there. Over there. Who's this group of people? Tell everyone just for fun. Listen, I'm enjoying this more than. Hey, listen, I just want to make sure people listen. These are things that in your life. I heard this phrase the other day, Mike, and I wanted to paint this in the background.
Yeah.
Someone said this to me in a serious conversation. Said, Peter, everything you want to know about life and business can be found within the game of hockey. And I said, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So anyway, this is what, and I know this is part of your glory days. I wanted to show people, look at that good-looking fellow right there. Who is that guy? Tell me who that guy is at that point in time.
Yeah, this is the guy that didn't listen very well. So I, like most 18-year-olds, pretty idealistic. Only wanted to go to college where I would play hockey. And did that. But so pretty wild kid, but really thoughtful. So that goalie sitting there had written poetry mostly through middle school and then through high school, and was too ashamed to even share those thoughts with people, right? Because they were emotional. They were from the heart. They were how I was experiencing life. Right. And so it's funny that, in a way that's a kid who's sitting in the spotlight with my athleticism and the things people wanted to see, and holding a lot of things back that I didn't want people to see.
Yeah.
And
totally relate to that. I totally relate. Thus the mask. I'm telling you, there's something about goalies and wearing a mask. And then being that last player back, that last person, and I don't know how you played the game and so on, but I know for me, when I was growing up, and I mean this sincerely, and I still don't, because I still play the game now. I don't know if you still play the game, Mike. I still throw the pads on. I still play every week, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to actually show you because I've seen some of your saves here, which is fantastic. But I always felt like it was my fault. If someone scored, it's my fault. I don't blame any of my teammates. I'm the last person back. I'm the last defender. And that's just kind of how I felt. And so I know that has either hurt me or helped me in my life. But I resonate with that feeling. How about yourself?
Amazing though, because think of that. After that light goes on, right? So we always talk about getting the sun, the light goes on back, you get the sun back. And with that goalie training, Peter, think about how well you're able to quickly recover the resiliency of that to be able to look for what's next. Because if you hold on to that thing, the next shot's going in, right?
Absolutely.
You have to block it out and look ahead and like what's next is the only thing that counts.
That's right. And I totally relate to that. And everyone, what Mike's referring to is like, when you're a goaltender and they score on you, the next play is what counts. I mean, that's gone in the past and you have to let it go very quickly because the psychology of stopping the next puck coming at you, that puck starts looking like a pea. It's the size of a pea after a while. So I just wanted to show that. And look at this. Look at the guys all the way took it to the winner. He was the champ, everybody. Look at that. Adina, right? Adina East. Yeah.
Yeah. Edina East and
Adina. Is it Adina? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah.
Say Edina. Yeah. That was the second year in a row we won it.
Oh, see, right. And from champions, man. There's a blood champion right here. I'm just telling everybody. Look at that guy. Look at that mask. I got to tell you something. I totally relate, Mike. I used to paint my masks. I used to have all kinds of cool things on my mask before they went to the cage, and absolutely love that. I look at that. Look, I love the pads. I like the gloves. Look at that stuff, man. And look at this guy. He played in Adina. He played Colorado College, little Bloomington. They're Bloomington Juniors, and he went to the University of Minnesota. There it is right there, everybody. NCAA. Boom. Now, of course, I can't believe you lost to Harvard. Nothing personal, but come on.
I know.
You lost to Harvard. Those are smart guys. Those are smart guys. They're
such an irony in that, too, because I actually had a chance. I got admitted to Harvard. So I had a chance to go to Harvard and play hockey.
Really?
And so think of this. I'm a kid from Minnesota, and you only see the WCHA. That's where all the pro players come from. And it's just like, I'm not going out to some Ivy League school to play. No. And so, right. And about 10 years later, I'm looking at my dad and just going, where were you in my life? And he's like, I was right where I am right now. But
you didn't ask.
Do you think you were listening to anybody at this point?
You totally would. I totally understand it. But hey, I looked up the goaltenders leaders that day or that tournament. There you go. Or for that year. Look at you, a junior, Minnesota, games played. 6 wins, 2 losses, 90. Hey, listen, save percentage almost 91. Hey, buddy, that's good stuff. 2.5 goals against average. Nothing wrong with that, my friend. Nothing wrong with that.
Keep it in the 9s.
There you go. Keep it in the 90s. Look at that glove save, everybody. Boom. There he is. Look, totally relate to that. Totally relate to that. I just love it. I still think this, and I
so old school, isn't it? Like
isn't
before
it?
colored leather and
oh man, I love that stuff. Hey, and I'm going to tell you something. The reason why I resonate with that so much because I still play the game. I still play. I'm starting this Friday, actually, coming up this Friday. First time in 18 months being on the ice. So it's going to be painful, to say the very least, like painful mentally, because everything will look so tiny, and I won't be able to stop a beach ball from going into a phone booth, if you can relate to that. It just won't happen. But I will. Hey, I am going to show you a save. I'm going to show you a couple saves here. Yeah. I got to show you that I actually played, because if you won't believe me if I don't.
Wow, look at that's the real stuff right there. I'm lucky. I got a friend of mine who works in the NHL, and he always gets me some gear. So God love him. Works with the Calgary Flames, and he gets me some gear. So he always gets me some good gear. So those are all, I don't know if you know Roman Turek, but Roman Turek, the big tall goalie, they call them large. That's his pads. Those are his pads right there. So, and they're illegal now. They're so big, they're illegal. So big. But hey, I want to show you, like, this is just starting out, a little scrimmage. And I want to show you how really I'm just unorthodox, old school playing, don't know how to, I just flop around and let pucks hit me. And you'll just love some of that. So look, we're just getting ready. First play of the game right here. Look. First play of the game, the guy, I missed my poke check, but the glove, boom. Oh!
I
look at that agility.
Look.
Oh. See, you just don't see athleticism like that. That's fabulous.
Right? I was so out of play right here. And here's another one. Watch the stack of the pads. Out, boom.
Beautiful. Wow.
Right? That old Dominik Hasek look, right? You roll over. He got me out. So I just throw up the pads, Mike. Look, watch what happens.
Boom. Boom.
I knew you'd appreciate that. Here's a little bit of glove hand for you. There's a glove. Boom.
Oh.
Just grab that right there.
Look at you jump out in the angle, too.
A little bit, but there it is. Like, I just give him the glove hand, and then I just take it from him. See? It's kind of a mental thing. You know that, right?
Awesome.
Here's another one. Give him the glove. Take it from him.
You're quick.
Listen, it's just guessing. I'm just guessing. No, I'm just guessing. Look.
So you say that, but we know that you can't get lucky, right?
There's another. Oh, there it is right there. That's the last one for you. I got to show you that one in slow-mo. I'm proud of this one only because it was the play after that floppy one that I did. And he tried to take the top corner, and there it is. Oh, just stole it from him.
Look at the leg kick and balance. I could see all day. That was awesome.
That was fun. I wish we had some footage of yours. I couldn't dig it up. I looked for it, just so you know. I looked for it. That was some glory days right there, everybody. Glory days with Mike 𝘃𝗏𝗏, goaltender. Listen, and that, the reason why I wanted to mention that, first of all, I want to have some fun. But second, you said it. You nailed it on the head. And I know I'm going to do a show about this one day, and we'll have to maybe talk about this. The connection between sports and fitness and wellness. And success in business and life. And I really believe, again, playing hockey, playing goaltender specifically for me, but any sport really gives you a different perspective of how you approach life, how you approach business, and so on. And that's what I really wanted to share, because I think that you learn a lot of leadership skills from playing sports. You learn a lot of different things about yourself, obviously, resilience, as you talked about, the ability to stay focused, the ability to put in the time, energy, the practice, all of these things. So I think we need to have a conversation about that, Mike, in the future. I think we need to
think about how brilliant that is. Just what you're saying there is, it's something that you can't perfect, right? So it's learning to live with the errors and the mistakes, because it's just inherent to doing it.
Right.
And so there's this, the build and the development and all of that. The focus. And then here's the thing that people really miss with, we hear teaming all the time, right? People think like teaming, and then they think it's, there's SharePoint, right? There's software that does collaboration. We're not talking about collaboration. We're like teaming. And where we really see it is, and you may have these experiences with those you were on teams with. When we get together, we don't talk about that play that happened or that game necessarily. Sometimes, that comes in, but it's really the experiences we have together. It's the stories about when we were there and we did this, about, the experiences of being in life together along that journey is what they share. So the camaraderie of being on a team is something that, when we can emulate that in the business environment, rather than here's your role to the collaboration and here's the timing of your inputs, and it's like, stop doing that. Just like, let's go win the game. What's it going to contribute stuff, right? Show up and be good today.
Let's go win the game. 100%. Hey, I just want to throw this up. Look at this from the Montreal Forum. This is Paul, a good friend of ours in Boston. I always appreciate him tuning in. And he said, I played a border battle tournament in the Montreal Forum in 78, 79. And he said, pretty sure an Adina team, Adina, right? Adina? Adina, I'm sorry. Adina team was represented. I played for a Boston team. You could have been there.
Yeah, that's possible. So we had junior teams that did travel, and so that's really possible. And then there's another. I know there was somebody from I think Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania was here, yeah, as well. Yeah.
So here to end the hockey thing with, here's my true claim to fame in hockey.
Yes, please.
I made Mario Lemieux.
Please tell me.
We were rookies in camp together in '84.
Come on, you were not.
Yeah, Mario and I were rookies together for the Pittsburgh Penguins in 1984, and I turned him into a scorer. I should still be getting like a check, right? None
of your equipment was working, apparently, right? Is that what? They're like, or that goalie is not very good. It's one or the other. Well, listen, if you're up against Mario, honest to God, that's unbelievable. Are you serious though?
Yeah.
See, that is unbelievable. I did not know that piece. That's fantastic. See, now we're talking about Stanley Cup champion, legend, business person. You see how that connection point comes back around what you're just talking about? That comes full circle to the idea of business and hockey the mentality behind it, the process of becoming a professional athlete. I mean, I've had professional athletes on this show as well, and listening to them talk about what they think leadership is, what makes a good teammate. Fascinating stuff. So hey, we need to have a conversation about that. Is what we need to do. I know I thought someone caught the #flip, so I do appreciate that, and I know I love the replays too. Hey, listen, I hope you guys had fun with that. We were just having fun talking about hockey and sports, and being two old goalies from the same part of the school, same part of the world. It's fascinating. So I just wanted to bring that up, Mike. I thought it was a fantastic. Hey, there's something I wanted to mention. It's really important. Hey, listen, I kept you long enough, so we're gonna wind down soon enough, Mike. I appreciate you being here for number one. Today is a really important day in the world, and I just wanted to see if you wanted to add to this, Mike. Today is International Peace Day. Around the world, International Peace Day. There's also a couple other days that are going on. It's also gratitude, believe it or not, on this day, and it's also World Alzheimer's. I just want to mention that as well. There's lots of different groups and organizations and concepts being sort of recognized today. World Gratitude Day, International Day of Peace, and World Alzheimer's. But I wanted to just talk about the gratitude piece of that. First of all, celebrate with everybody these beautiful concepts and so on. For you, Mike, what is World Gratitude Day, and basically, what are you grateful for these days? What are you grateful for?
I love that, and thank you for bringing that in, Peter. It's something so critically important every day, is to find that piece of gratitude and hang on to it. I think it can be the people talk about the golden ring, something to hold on to, right? And it really, I think that is what I'm most grateful for today, is being able to stay above the surface when it feels like sometimes we're sitting in a whirlwind or a whirlpool that's kind of pulling us into something that we know we don't want to go into. And the strength to be able to grasp onto a bigger purpose, others, relationships, and hold on. I'm grateful for the ability to stay above the surface and not be pulled into those things that are less peaceful.
Yeah, right. I know what you mean. Like, you talked about it earlier about, and it's just a really brief comment, but you said, stay away from the television, and, it's about what we consume. You are basically what you think and talk about all day long. I mean, you become that. And so I understand what you mean by that, what you're consuming, who you're listening to, who you're spending time with, and try to find a sense of, is that bringing me peace? Am I finding gratitude in that? I so agree with you on that, and trying to find that level of balance where you want to stay informed, but you also want to keep, you want to be, I guess, a reflection of what you want to see in the world, and being peaceful and being grateful is one great way to do it.
And I want to say this very sincerely, is I'm grateful for you today. And this time we spent together, I've been laughing. I'm bouncing out of my chair like I'm a little kid having so much fun. I'm at recess right now, and what a cool thing! Like, what an amazing experience. So thank you for that.
Oh, that's a super kind. Hey, listen, I super appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. It's been a pleasure to have you so far. Hey, so far, because we're not even finished yet, my friend. We're not even finished. One of the things I noticed we just talked about, we looked back at some great old pictures of you, and I read the beginning of your book. I'm still working on the book of believership. I know you were working at the tender age of 14, and you learned a lot through that process. I think you were raising a family of 5 in your 30s. I mean, just an incredible journey, everybody. Again, I'm pointing back to the book for everyone to go and listen to that story and read about that. And I just think it's an amazing story, Mike, and very inspiring what you've done, and you brought it to full circle here to humans first and amplifying other people around the world. With all that being said, and that beautiful family that we saw earlier, and those kinds of things, I'm just wondering, at this point in your life, of where you are, what are you most proud of? What are you most proud of about your journey to date?
I'm still becoming a person that I like better than the person that I was. And the I think probably the humility in that to forgive myself for the mistakes I've made, and continue to move forward and realize that, in many ways, I just have spent 60 years now creating context for what I can learn next. And I'm as ambitious as ever. I think what I'm doing now is my anti-retirement program, because I can't even fathom why anybody would want to do that. I have no intention of stopping, right? I want to tip over right in the middle of something really cool.
Totally relate. Totally relate. I know where you're going. It's good.
So I will say that raising my family and who they are as young people out in the world. And I say that, Peter, because I never really acknowledged that, right? Like for so many years of my life, throughout my career, and it was all about, what am I becoming? What am I achieving? And my scorecard was really broken, right? And then I had to go home and, raise a family and do all that stuff, which I tried to do well, and, contributed and volunteered and coached hockey and, did stuff. But I never really put that on my scorecard. Mm-hmm. It was my responsibility. It was things I found joy out of, but I didn't look at it and say, well, I'm really proud of that. Kind of until now. And you know what? I encourage people, don't wait that long. It's not too late, but it's really late.
Well, what I love what you just said, you said something that really resonates with me, because it's something that I often mention here, and it's a theme of something I'm working on in the future about legacy and leaving a great family, or raising a great family and raising good people, and having people come up to you and say, you know what, you got a great bunch of kids there. You got a great family there. I mean, that to me, the legacy piece of your journey to date, that's something to be super proud of, I think.
Yeah, thank you. And I really hope that with Humans First, Peter, that we can continue to build it and allow it to represent so many people, that it's sustainable, where it doesn't matter where it was founded or where it started. It's just something that's still building within others. And then people like Tony and Andrea, right, and her worthy conferences that she does once a month, and the many thousands of people that have stepped into it, as that continues to take shape, and some young people will jump into it and keep it moving. That it's just an idea that keeps building way beyond what I could have ever dreamed, and that's a great hope for me. That would be, you kick it off and you had no idea. Like, I'll never see the last domino fall, but I hope the dominoes keep falling.
Oh, nicely said. Nicely said. Nicely said. We've talked about it, when we talked about the concept of leadership today, we've talked about different things about how we watched leaders perform, if you will, over the last, 18 months. And I'm thinking again, over the last 5 years, let's just say, and so on. And we just talked about television, and we talked about what we put in our minds and those kinds of things. And so we have to be very protective of what we consume and who we spend time with and all these kinds of things. So if you spend a lot of time consuming a lot of things in, let's just say, news media, you might not feel so good about what's going on in the world. I'm just curious with, you talk to people all over the world. You're connected with people on the leadership side, and you're connected with people in Humans First and so on. I wonder what keeps Mike optimistic and hopeful. What keeps you hopeful and optimistic these days?
I know that we continue to evolve, and that we have so much love truly inside of us, and we can continue to learn to bring that out, and it's okay, right? Like, the cool thing about living in love, living with heart, Peter, and I know this sounds like fuzzy, right? But it's really not. Like, this is when we share love out, nobody can break it. Like, it's just, you're just giving it away. It's air, it's energy, it's real stuff. And nobody can break it. And they can't take away something that you're giving. So nobody can steal it because you're already giving it. So what I encourage is, like, we can continue to inspire people, encourage people to start sharing out that love from inside of them. It's what you want, and all you have to do to get it is give it. And we miss that. Nobody can steal it. Nobody can break it. It's not something to protect. Share it. Open it up. And then we can see that our differences are actually something cool to explore. You know, we'll get to a point where we can have a political conversation because it will just be a really cool conversation. That's not a fight. Right? Like, we're going to grow out of this infantile state that we're living in right now.
Yeah, I sure hope so. And listen, I so resonate with that. They can't take what you're giving to them. Right? I mean, how good is that? I mean, I'm going to use that. I'm stealing that, just so you know. I'm so stealing that, but I'll give you a ton of credit for it. That's for sure. I appreciate hearing that, because I think we need to kind of just settle down a little bit with our own minds, how busy we can get, and remember that, again, the giving of ourselves, our time, our energy, our hearts, just keeping an open, heartfelt conversation, helps everybody in the world. And if we give that out, that's what we're trying to do here. If we give it out, someone's going to receive it at the right time. So it's
you've had so many amazing guests on your show, and you're just, like, you're brilliant at this. Truly, I wanted to give those compliments because I'm experiencing it, but also, like, I was so excited to be here because you just have some really cool guests. Like, you've done an amazing body of work, and I think I try to boil it down to, what are those little opportunities, right? And when we go into an argument with somebody, or we go into a situation where we want to be right, or we want to prove something, we think the win is winning the argument, or proving that we're right. And I want to flip that a little bit. Here's the win that we can look at in a day and say, gosh, that was a good day. Not, did I win the battle against somebody? Did I bring somebody with me today?
Oh, yeah.
Just like, that's the battle. Did somebody go with me today?
Yeah.
Right? Not, did I win? Did I beat you?
Right.
Like, did I engage you? Are we going together on the next step? That's a win.
Yeah. See, speaking my language. So first of all, thank you for those kind compliments. I appreciate that. That is always the intention of this show, and the things that I try to do is use my voice as a force for good and allow other people to tell their stories, so that your voice and your things that you're passionate about, humans first, and these, believership, these kinds of things, resonate with people. And if it affects that one leader out there, that could go out and change thousands of lives potentially, and then that reciprocates back and forth, and next thing you know, you're affecting millions of people. That's the joy. Did we bring somebody along? Did we open the door for someone to come through and have these conversations? That's what makes it meaningful for me. Hey, thank you.
What's the risk of that, really, when you think of a leader coming in and saying, okay, just open up yourself and open up your heart and show you care a little bit?
Right?
The people that you're around aren't going to think all of a sudden you got stupid. It's like you didn't lose any of your aptitude because you started to care more. It's an add on. It's not a subtract or replacement. It's in addition to your smarts, your brilliance, your accomplishments. There's no risk. Like, you don't start caring about people and then become stupid. It doesn't work that way. I promise you. That I can promise.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's this idea of we're doing it anyway. If you do that in your normal day of your life and so on, to separate ourselves from not bringing our full selves to business, not bringing our full selves to our relationships, not doing this enough. What's the risk? The risk is just that you're going to maybe put a smile on someone's face and make a difference in someone's life. So, hey, listen, that's the whole charm behind Humans First. So thank you for bringing that to the world. We appreciate that. Mike, we're almost finished, buddy. We're almost finished. Now we get to the fun part.
It can get more fun?
Can it get? I don't know. Can it? That's a great question. Can it get more fun? Yes, it can. Yes, it can. Because you know what we got to do before we leave here? We got to do a little this or that. We got to get inside the mind of Mike Vacanti. So a little this or that right now, and that's coming up right now. Mike Vacanti, this or that. And boom, we're going to do a little this or that right now.
It's a dangerous neighborhood up here. Don't go there alone.
Oh, you just stole my line. That is what I said. Listen, I say that to my wife all the time. It's like, you don't want to come in here. Don't come in here. It's it's scary. You don't want to come in here. But hey, listen, we got to have some fun. The whole point of this is there's no right or wrong. Everyone who's been on the show, hey, we do it because I just want to learn more about people. That's why when I found out about the hockey, I was like, whoa, and a goalie. Are you kidding me? And a goalie. Come on. So this or that, no right or wrong. I'm just going to say two things. You pick one of them. Gives me a little insight of what's going on up there. Okay. So I won't come in deep, but we might. You never know. You never know. But we'll start with something simple. I know you're a health guy, so we'll keep it nice and clean here. So a kombucha or a green tea?
Green tea.
There you go. Good for sleeping, right? Good for the digestive, right? Good for all that stuff. How about this? Spider-Man or Batman?
Spider-Man.
Like the web slinger. I got it. That's cool. 60s music or 80s music?
80s music.
My hair stuck in 1987. Slippery when wet. Stuck right there.
There's no other era that has that many anthems still playing, right?
I tend to agree. Listen, I tend to agree. Listen, that's the hair. I totally get it. Movies wise, Shawshank Redemption or Gladiator?
Oh man. So I've watched each of them dozens of times, and I have to say Gladiator.
Me too. And I'm telling you, I'm going to write a book about it. I swear I have a book about it. I'll tell you about it off air sometime. I have a book idea. I cannot wait. But Gladiator, every time it's on, by the way, I have a copy of it. It's on my video recorder. And so anytime I'm feeling kind of like I need something, I'll just click it on. And if it's on TV, I'll say, I'll watch it for 5 minutes. And in the end, I'm watching it. There's so many great one-liners in there. So I get it. But Shawshank as well. Love Shawshank as well.
Shawshank is awesome, and very different. But what's funny, and you may experience this too. So I'll be watching, and like I said, I've watched it dozens of times. And my wife will come by and she'll start talking to me. And it's like, don't interrupt me. And she's like, well, you've seen it dozens of times.
Right? That's me. I know.
Why are you focused?
I want to hear it again. There's just so many beautiful one-liners there. We'll talk about that. I just love that. How about this? Hey, I know what part of the world you're in. So hot dish or Juicy Lucy?
It is the Juicy Lucy that I'm picking the Juicy Lucy. But hot dish, that's so funny, right? Because
that's local. Everyone, just so you know, that's like the Minnesota, Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're talking with Twin Cities here. Hot dish is referring to like casserole, right? Like a casserole.
It's a casserole.
And what's a Juicy Lucy? I already know what it is, but tell everyone what Juicy Lucy.
Juicy Lucy is a famous hamburger. There's 2 shops in town that serve them, and it is a luscious, greasy hamburger.
Right.
That
cheese infused, right?
It's cheese infused. You have to get the double decker and
it's a heart attack.
Hold it out over the plate. Like, not here.
You need a shower after you're done eating it, right? You need a shower. Hey, how about travel? Europe or the Caribbean?
Ooh, so I love beaches. I just have to say I love beaches. But I have to say Europe because I get fascinated by every path I walk as I'm visiting. Love beaches, love being around the Caribbean. I don't want to choose right this second myself, but I do understand, like I said, the history of the world. We just talked about Gladiator, right? You go to Italy or France or Germany or there's Scotland. The history
The history. When I was in Ireland, I laughed because, of course, remember, I'm in Canada, and we're basically 150 years old, a couple of years plus, and you go to Ireland and someone changed their windows 150 years ago. Like the door is 800 years old. It's fascinating stuff. It's fascinating stuff. Okay, be careful with this one. Martin Brodeur or Patrick Roy?
Ooh. Martin Brodeur.
Two, just so everyone knows, two winningest goalies of all time.
Yeah.
Martin actually won more games, and Stanley Cups and all that stuff. But of course, Patrick Roy, another guy right up there.
Yeah, he is. And I've met Patrick, but Montreal took Patrick when I went to Pittsburgh, so there's a little history in that.
Right.
Yeah, and then Patrick's son had played in a tournament that we put on here in Minnesota, so that was fun. But and then I was on a business trip, and Philly was in the semis, and Jersey was playing, right, and so I called up Lou Lamoriello, New Jersey, because Holmgren from Minnesota wouldn't take care of me at the time, right? He was the GM of Philly, and it's like, hey, Paul, and he's like, yeah, I can't do anything for you. So the greatest, Lou Lamoriello, greatest guy ever, took care of me in many, many cities. But so called Lou, he's like, yeah, I got you. So I was sitting next to Brodeur's agent that night in the stadium.
Super cool. That's a cool story. See, we got lots more storytelling we got another show to do. There's shows down the line. I can see that's all coming out. That's why people got to come and see you speak, by the way. He's an author and speaker, by the way, everybody. So you can take this gentleman and bring him right into your organization. How about this? Sunrise or sunset?
Again, gosh, it's like I have to tell a story. So I adore sunsets. I go enjoy them all the time. But I am the only one that will get up prior to a sunrise and go experience it. And I think that aloneness, the solitude of that new day beginning, it wins.
Oh, I so agree. Both of them are magical, but the morning time, oh, there's something special about that. I listen, 100% agree on that. 100% agree on that. How about this? A day with Richard Branson on Necker Island, or a day with Elon Musk to talk about going to Mars?
I'm with Elon Musk, and not only talking about Mars, but probably talking about the why Mars and many other things. Right? There is the risk taker,
right.
And both brilliant people, right? So brilliant people are always fun to hang with, but I'm going with Musk.
Right on. Yeah. Fascinating guy. Fascinating to see. I mean, that's the least word I could use right there. Fascinating. Here's one of my favorite questions. Favorite questions for you right now, my friend. Hope or freedom?
Boy, you're brilliant with this one. Look at me pause on this thing. What the heck? You stumped me. I'm going to go with hope. It's what I felt at the beginning when you asked the question, so I'm staying with it. I'm going with hope. I think hope is the fountain for our beliefs.
Yeah, I've not heard that before. Fountain for our beliefs. Again, no right or wrong on this. It's fascinating to see what pops in your mind first, and then when you get thoughtful with it, how it can go back and forth. And again, no right or wrong, but yeah, I'm a hope guy as well. Obviously, freedom is a super, super important concept.
And if freedom was absent, that's what I started thinking about is, okay, so I know which one, but now both of them, which are the positive. And then it's like, but if I was missing one, which one would I miss more? I'd miss hope more.
Wow. I love that. I never heard it said like that before. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Which one was go? I've not heard that. I appreciate that. Okay, my fine friend, listen, it's been a pleasure. I want you to end up, we're going to finish on this sentence right here. Finish this sentence for me. Finish this sentence. I love my life because
of the people in it.
Amen.
Wow. Peter, so many people have come into my life and touched my life in many ways, like not all positive, right? There's been some negative impacts. I've experienced everything that we experience in life, and some of it was self-inflicted, but the people have always come along to embrace me, to provide that hope, and to walk part of the path with me. And they didn't hold me hostage. They held my hand. And they inspired me, and they gave me ideas, and they let me feel. And I love my life because of the people in it.
Amen, brother. Amen to that. Amen to that. Mike 𝗶𝗃𝗁𝗃, my friend, I just knew this is going to be fantastic. I don't know why. I just knew it. My heart tells me to reach out to people. And then when I found out we're goldies, come on.
I know. I was wondering what the big surprise was too. And I have to say, I don't have that physical agility like you just demonstrated there. I'm in awe of you for that and other things. But
that is just someone who just doesn't know how to really play the game, just flopping around, having fun. That's all that person's doing. I so appreciate you being here. I so appreciate you sharing. Did you have fun? That's the most important thing.
So much fun. So much fun. I just kind of want to come and hang with you. Like I'm on my way.
I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing us Humans First. Thank you for bringing that group of people together. And thanks for what you do. You know, you're out there amplifying good in the world, and you're using your voice as a force for good, and you're bringing people together under the right sort of temperament of where you see things need to go for leadership. And I hope everyone will reach out to you. I'm going to make sure that they can see along the bottom. Reach out to Mike here along, of course, on LinkedIn. You can reach him at mjvacanti.com, humansfirst.club. We have a couple books there as well. We can always talk about, there's You Belong Here, Humans First story. So please check that out as well. Super, really cool book with 33 stories in there. So glad we got Tony on today to talk a little bit about that. So that was fantastic. And of course, the other book is Believership, the Superpower Beyond Leadership. So I hope people will check that out as well, my fine friend. It's been just a pleasure. It's just been a pleasure. It's as simple as that. It's been a pleasure. Everyone else, listen, for everybody in the comments, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this show. Please, share with people. If you like what you see, please leave it in the comments, share with your network. We want to tell great stories, amplify people just like that beautiful young man over there. So that's what we want to do. Thanks again, Mike. It's super good to see you. Stick around. Hey, I'll see you after the show. I'm going to play you out, everybody. I'm going to pick one here. It's about being grateful. In my travels to Rwanda, it really reminded me tremendously of all the things that to be grateful for. Simple running water, by the way, electricity. Being able to live the life that we live. There's people that are dreaming of things that we have that we just take for granted. And I on a day called Gratitude Day in 2021, let's just be grateful and thankful, everybody, for what we have and what we can share with each other. Mike, we will see each other again. That is for sure. Everybody else, listen, I hope you had a great time, and I thank you for being here. And, as we always say, just be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind. We'll see you next time. See you, Mike.
Thank you very much.
So I found a new friend, and we traded a pen for this soccer ball. And I thought it was really nice because I just gave him the pen because he'd been helping me throughout the day to learn 𝘄𝗶𝘁𝗵. And he's a very smart boy, knows English very well. Very good English. Yes. So I gave him a pen, which they love pens, and 10-15 minutes later, he came back and gave me a ball for the trade. So I just thought that was really, really cool because I didn't ask for it. So 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵 yeah, pita. Yeah, so he gave me that. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I'll be bringing this back to Canada. And yeah, I thought it was awesome. He's a really, really, really clever kid. He's going to be an English teacher. Professor. Yeah.
English.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you.